My daughter's husband said, "We're short on rent. Give us your pension or leave." I still remember that morning so clearly. The air outside was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you feel something is coming, but you can't tell what. I was sitting at my small kitchen table sipping my tea when my phone buzzed. It was a message from my daughter, Anna. "Mom," she wrote, "can you come over today? We need to talk." Those words, "we need to talk," they always make my heart beat a little faster. You never really know what they mean, do you? I smiled anyway. I hadn't seen Anna or her husband, Mark, for a few weeks. They'd both been busy with work, and I missed them. I missed my grandson, Ben, too. He was 8, smart, funny, and always running around with a toy car in his hand. I made myself a sandwich, changed into my blue sweater, and left my little apartment. The bus ride took almost an hour, but I didn't mind. I liked looking out the window. The shops, the kids with backpacks, the people rushing to work. It made me feel part of the world. When I reached their building, I felt that little excitement I always did before seeing my family. I carried a small box of cookies I had baked the night before, Ben's favorite chocolate chip ones. But when Anna opened the door, her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Hi, Mom," she said softly. "Come in." The apartment felt different that day. The curtains were drawn and there was an odd silence. Mark was sitting at the table, his hands clasped. He nodded but didn't smile. Ben was nowhere to be seen. Something was wrong. I sat down carefully, my heart already heavy. "What's going on?" I asked. Anna exchanged a quick look with Mark before she spoke. "Mom, we've been having a hard time lately. Rent's gone up and Mark's hours were cut." I nodded. "I'm sorry to hear that, dear. Things are tough for everyone these days." She looked down. "We thought maybe you could help us. Just for a while." I frowned a little. "Of course, I can help with groceries or something, but I don't have much. You know my pension barely covers my bills." Mark finally spoke. His voice was calm but cold. "We were thinking you could move in here for a bit. That way, you wouldn't have to pay rent at your apartment, and your pension could go toward helping with ours." For a second, I didn't understand. "You mean, give you my pension?" Anna's eyes filled with tears. "Just until we're back on our feet." I looked at her, my only daughter, and felt a wave of sadness. "Honey, I can't give you my whole pension. That's how I survive." Mark sighed loudly. "You wouldn't have to worry about food or a roof over your head. We're offering to take care of you, too." It sounded kind, but his tone wasn't kind. It felt like I was being cornered. "I appreciate that," I said slowly. "But I need my independence. I don't want to be a burden." Mark's jaw tightened. "It's not about being a burden. We're all struggling, and you could make things easier if you helped out." I could feel Anna's eyes on me, pleading. My hands trembled slightly as I reached for my bag. "Let me think about it, all right?" The silence in the room felt heavy. Then Mark pushed his chair back and stood. "You should think fast. Rent's due next week." Anna looked ashamed, but she didn't say anything. I stood up, still holding the box of cookies. "I made these for Ben," I said softly. Anna smiled weakly. "He's in his room. I'll give them to him." I nodded and walked to the door. My heart was pounding, but my eyes stayed dry. I had raised Anna alone after her father passed away. I had worked double shifts, skipped meals, saved every dollar I could, all to make sure she had a good life. And now, this? When I reached the bus stop, I sat on the bench, clutching my bag tightly. My pension was small, barely enough for rent, food, and medicine. I couldn't just hand it over. But what hurt more was the way Mark spoke to me, as if I owed them something. That night, I barely slept. I stared at the ceiling, thinking of the years I spent sewing clothes late into the night, just so Anna could go to college. Thinking of the times she cried on my shoulder when life was hard. I never thought she'd look at me with pity, or worse, with distance. 2 days later, Anna called again. "Mom, have you decided?" I swallowed hard. "Sweetheart, I can't give you my pension. I'm sorry." There was silence. Then she said quietly, "Mark's not happy. We might have to make some changes." "Changes?" I asked. "Maybe it's best if you don't come by for a while. It's stressful for everyone right now." I sat there frozen, the phone pressed to my ear. "Are you saying you don't want to see me?" "Just for a little while," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Please understand." The line went dead. That evening I walked around my small apartment, touching the old photos on the wall. Anna's school picture, our trip to the park, her wedding day. In each photo she was smiling. So was I. But I couldn't find that smile in me anymore. I kept thinking, maybe if I had more money they'd love me again. Maybe if I had been a better mother, Mark wouldn't hate me. But deep down, I knew love shouldn't need payment. Still, I couldn't stop missing her. A week later, I took the bus again. I didn't tell Anna. I just wanted to see Ben, even for a minute. When I reached their building, I stood across the street. Through the window, I saw him sitting on the floor, playing with his toys. Anna was beside him, laughing. I smiled, but then I saw Mark walk in. He said something, and Anna's face changed. She got up quickly, closed the curtains, and just like that, I disappeared from their world again. That night after I saw them close the curtains, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window of my apartment, watching the streetlights blur into golden circles. My chest hurt, not because of anger, but because of something heavier. Disappointment. You know, when people you love hurt you, it doesn't always come with shouting or cruel words. Sometimes it comes with silence. That kind of pain stays longer. The next morning, I got a letter slipped under my door. It was from my landlord. Rent was increasing by $50 starting next month. I sat down slowly, the paper shaking in my hands. $50. To most people, that might not sound like much. But to me, that was half a month's groceries. I looked around my small living room. The old couch, the small TV, the curtains I had sewn myself. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. For the next few days, I tried to distract myself. I cleaned, watered my plants, even baked a pie. But every time I sat down, I thought of Anna. I thought of Ben. I wondered if he asked about me. I wondered if he missed me. Then one afternoon, my neighbor, Clara, knocked on my door. She was in her 60s, too. A kind woman who lived alone like me. "You look pale, Mary," she said, stepping in with a warm smile. "You okay?" I forced a smile. "Just tired." She sat with me and poured tea. I hadn't told her what happened, but somehow she knew I needed company. We talked for hours about old movies, the weather, and our aching knees. When she left, I felt a little lighter. Till that night, I cried quietly in my bed. I missed my daughter's voice. I missed being part of her world. I thought maybe I should give in. Maybe send them some money each month. Maybe that would make her talk to me again. But something inside me stopped me. A small voice that said, "Mary, love doesn't need proof in dollars." Weeks passed. The days blended together. One afternoon, I went to the grocery store. As I stood in line, I heard a woman talking on the phone behind me. "My mom just doesn't get it," she said, laughing. "She still thinks we owe her something for raising us." Her words cut right through me. I paid for my groceries and walked home slowly, my heart heavy again. When I reached my building, there was a small envelope taped to my door. It was from Anna. My heart jumped. I tore it open quickly. Inside was a short note. "Mom, I hope you're okay. Mark and I talked, and we think it's best if you sell your apartment and move in with us. We could use the extra help. It's for the best. We'll take care of you. Love." And I read it twice. Sell your apartment. Those words hit me like a wave. I didn't own much in this world, but that small place. It was my home, my space, my last bit of freedom. I sat down, the paper trembling in my hand. Move in with us. We'll take care of you. It didn't sound like care. It sounded like control. I thought about Mark again. The way he looked at me like I was just another bill to pay. I knew if I gave up my apartment, I'd never get it back. I'd be living under his roof, under his rules, eating when he said, speaking when he allowed. The next morning, I wrote a letter back. Anna, I love you more than you'll ever know. I always have, and I always will. But I can't sell my home. It's all I have left that's truly mine. I hope you understand one day. Love. Mommy mailed it quietly, then sat by the window watching the world go by. A week passed, no reply. Then one day there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, Mark was standing there. My stomach dropped. "Can I come in?" he asked flatly. I stepped aside. He walked in, looking around like he was inspecting the place. "You shouldn't be living alone," he said. "Anna worries about you." "I'm fine," I said softly. He crossed his arms. "You could be helping your family instead of sitting here doing nothing." I stared at him, trying to stay calm. "I've worked my whole life, Mark. I raised your wife alone. I've done my part," he smirked. "Your part? We're family. Family share. If you really cared, you'd help." His words burned. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. He sighed and looked around again. "Well, think about it," he said, turning to leave. "But don't wait too long. Rent's due soon." And then he was gone. I stood there for a long time after the door closed. My hands were shaking. I felt small, invisible. That night I sat in my armchair, holding a photo of Anna when she was 10. She was missing a front tooth, grinning wide, her arms around me. That picture used to make me smile. Now it just made me wonder. When did I stop being her mother and start being her wallet? Days turned into weeks again. No visits, no calls. One morning I woke up to find a letter from the pension office, a reminder that my annual recheck was due. I decided to go in person. Maybe getting out of the house would help me clear my head. When I arrived, the clerk smiled and asked for my papers. I handed them over. She typed for a while, then frowned slightly. "Mrs. Green? Yes? Did you authorize your pension account to be changed recently?" My heart dropped. "Changed? No, I didn't." She hesitated. "There was a request submitted last week to have your payments transferred to a joint account with someone named Mark Walters." I froze. My throat went dry. "Mark Walters? That's my son-in-law." She looked uncomfortable. "We didn't process it yet because the signature didn't match perfectly. But we'll need to confirm with you directly before making any changes." I could barely breathe. "No," I whispered. "Don't change anything, please." She nodded. "Of course. I'll block the request." When I walked out of that office, my legs felt weak. I sat on a bench outside, my mind spinning. My son-in-law had tried to take my pension, without even asking me. I felt something break inside me that day. Not anger, just deep, deep hurt. That night I packed a small suitcase. I didn't know where I was going yet. I just knew I couldn't stay trapped in the middle of their plans anymore. After I packed my small suitcase, I sat by my bed and stared at it. It was strange looking at that little bag. I had filled it with a few clothes, my medicine, and a framed photo of Anna when she was a child. Everything else in my apartment suddenly felt distant, like it didn't belong to me anymore. The next morning I called Clara, my neighbor. "Clara," I said softly, "would you mind keeping an eye on my plants for a few days? I might go away for a while." "Of course," she said, her voice full of concern. "Is everything all right?" I hesitated. "I just need some time to think." She gave me a kind look and nodded. "Take care of yourself, Mary." I smiled, but my heart was heavy. I took the bus out of town. I didn't have a clear plan. I just wanted to go somewhere quiet, somewhere my thoughts could breathe. After about 2 hours, I got off near a small town I remembered from years ago. It had a park, a bakery, and a small church. I had once taken Anna there for a picnic when she was little. She'd chased butterflies and laughed so freely back then. I rented a small room above the bakery. The woman who owned it, Mrs. Lane, was kind and didn't ask too many questions. The room smelled of bread and coffee, and the window looked out over the street. That evening, I went downstairs to buy a small loaf. Mrs. Lane asked, "Visiting family?" I paused for a moment. "No," I said softly. "Just visiting myself," she smiled gently. "Sometimes that's the best company." I smiled back, though my heart ached. Days passed quietly. I spent my mornings walking in the park, watching families with their children. I thought of Anna and Ben often. I wondered if they missed me, but I didn't call. I wanted to. Oh, how badly I wanted to. But I couldn't bring myself to hear their voices if they didn't sound happy to hear mine. One afternoon, as I was walking back from the park, my phone buzzed. It was Anna. My hands shook as I answered. "Hello, Mom," she said softly. I closed my eyes for a moment. "Yes, dear. Where are you? I went by your apartment and you weren't there." "I needed some time away," I said. There was silence on the other end. Then she whispered, "Mark told me what happened. About the pension." I felt my chest tighten. "Did he?" "Yes," she said. "He said he was just trying to make things easier." "By stealing from me?" I asked quietly. Her voice trembled. "Mom, please don't say it like that." "He thought—" "Anna," I interrupted gently. "He thought he could take what wasn't his. And you let him think that." There was a long pause. Then she said, barely above a whisper, "I didn't know he actually tried." I didn't respond. "Mom," she said again, "please come home. We can talk. We'll figure it out." I looked out the window at the street below. The sky was gray, and a light drizzle had started. "Home," I repeated softly. "I'm not sure where that is anymore, sweetheart." She started to cry. "Please don't say that. Ben keeps asking where you are. He misses you." Tears filled my eyes too. "Tell him I love him. And tell him I'm proud of him, no matter what. Mom, please." "I'll call you soon," I said gently. And then I hung up. I sat there for a long time, listening to the rain tapping against the window. My heart hurt, but I also felt something new. A quiet strength. For the first time in a long while, I had made a choice just for me. That night, Mrs. Lane knocked on my door. "You okay, dear?" I nodded. "Just thinking." She smiled kindly. "Thinking's good, as long as it doesn't hurt too much." I smiled faintly. "It hurts a little, but it's the kind of hurt that teaches you something." She nodded and patted my shoulder before leaving. I lay awake that night, remembering everything. The laughter, the birthdays, the tears, the fights, the way Anna used to hold my hand when she was small, the way she used to say, "I'll never leave you, Mommy." Some promises fade quietly over time. The next morning, I went to the church in town. I sat in the back pew, not to pray exactly, but just to sit in the quiet. There was something about that silence that felt healing. A few people were lighting candles. I watched them and thought about all the years I'd spent giving, my time, my energy, my love, to make sure my daughter had a good life. I didn't regret it, but I also realized something important that morning. I had given so much that I had forgotten I was a person too. I had spent years being a mother, but I had forgotten to be Mary. And that's what I decided to do then. To be Mary again. Not the mother who gives everything until there's nothing left. Not the woman waiting by the phone for someone to say they need her. Just me. The next few weeks were peaceful. I helped Mrs. Lane in her bakery sometimes, sweeping or packing bread. In return, she let me stay for less rent. I started reading again, something I hadn't done in years. But one morning, I received another letter. It was from Anna. "Mom, I understand if you don't want to come back. I know I hurt you. Mark and we're not doing well. He moved out last week. Ben keeps asking about you. I miss you, Mom. I'm sorry for everything. Love, Anna. I read it over and over again, my eyes filled with tears. But this time, they weren't just from pain. There was sadness, yes, but also relief. That night, I wrote her back. Anna, I'll always love you. Nothing you say or do can change that. But I need some time to live my own life now. Tell Ben Grandma loves him to the moon and back. One day, when you're ready, we'll find our way back to each other. Love, Mom. I mailed the letter the next morning. As I walked back through the little town, the air smelled of bread and rain. The sky was clear, and the sun peeked through the clouds. For the first time in a long while, I felt calm. I stood there for a while after closing the door, holding my breath, listening to the quiet. It was strange how silence could be both heavy and gentle at the same time. My suitcase was still beside the door, half open, with my folded clothes and knitting things peeking out. The clock on the wall ticked softly, almost like it was reminding me that life was still moving forward, even when I felt like standing still. For a few minutes, I just stood there, unsure of what to do next. I sat down on the small couch, ran my fingers over the armrest, and sighed deeply. I didn't cry anymore. I think I had cried enough. I wasn't angry either. I was just tired. Tired of giving love that wasn't wanted. Then I looked around the little room I had found to live in. It was small but warm. The landlady, Mrs. Porter, was kind. She always brought me soup and chatted a little. I liked that. I even had a small window that faced the park. I could see children playing there every morning. They laughed so freely, so loudly. Their laughter filled the quiet corners of my heart. I found a small job at the library nearby, just 2 hours a day, helping sort books and tidy up. The people there were kind too. They didn't know my story, and I didn't tell it. They only knew me as Mrs. Langley who loves books. And honestly, that was enough for me. Some evenings I'd sit by the window, knitting little scarves or baking small pies to share with Mrs. Porter. She'd always say, "You have such gentle hands, dear. You must have been a wonderful mother." I would smile softly and just say, "I tried." One morning a letter came. It was from my daughter. The handwriting was shaky. I sat down before opening it because my hands had started trembling. "Mom," it began. "I don't know how to start. I'm sorry. I didn't know things had gone so far. I didn't know what he said to you that night. I found your note, and I cried. I should have stood by you. I was scared and weak, and I let him treat you terribly. But I've left him now. I couldn't live like that anymore. I want to see you, if you'll let me. I miss you." Tears rolled down my face, slow and quiet. I traced her words with my fingers like they were fragile glass. I had waited so long for something like this. Not for revenge or guilt, just honesty. I folded the letter gently and placed it in my apron pocket. That evening I baked an apple pie. I wanted to bring it when I saw her. Not as a symbol of the past, but of forgiveness. When we finally met, she looked older, tired and broken. We hugged for a long time, both crying softly. No words were needed right away. Sometimes silence can heal more than words ever could. She told me she had found a small apartment and a job. She was learning to live again. She asked if I could visit sometimes, maybe even stay a few days every now and then. I smiled and said, "We'll see, dear, one step at a time." I didn't move back in. I couldn't. That house held too many painful echoes. But we did meet every weekend after that, sometimes for tea, sometimes for walks. She'd rest her head on my shoulder just like she used to as a little girl. Those moments made everything worth it. One Sunday, she brought my grandson along. He was 5, full of energy and laughter. When he saw me, he smiled and said, "Grandma, Mommy says you make the best pie in the world." And for the first time in a very long time, my heart felt whole again. I realized something that day. Sometimes life takes everything from you, just to give you back what truly matters: love, peace, and self-respect. Even now, when I sit by the window and watch the sunset, I think about all that happened. I still remember the pain, but I also remember the strength it gave me. I may have lost my home once, but I found my heart at again. So if anyone listening to this feels forgotten or unloved, please don't lose hope. You are worth more than the way others treat you. You have a heart that still beats with kindness, and that's enough to rebuild a life. And if your family doesn't see your worth, remember, sometimes peace comes when you walk away, even if it hurts. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched your heart even a little, please like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that remind us love doesn't always come easy, but it always finds a way back home.